Yesterday was a lot of fun. This Washington Justice team showing us like the Shanghai Dragons throwback, the far up ball comp, gave me vibes of how they broke through sort of the Ghost dominance of that era. I was a little concerned about their Circuit Royale, though. That looked pretty iffy, Matt. So, yeah, I definitely feel better about Toronto here.
I'm riding with the Justice today. Everybody's doubting... What? The Justice, everybody was doubting them the other day. This isn't your Corey Stratus Yanis Justice. This is a new Justice. We got some... What?
Sorry. Okay.
I mean, this team, they looked good yesterday, and I think there's a lot of pressure on Toronto coming into this series, like an infinite amount more pressure, right? Nobody expects the Justice to win. Toronto, you're trying to like qualify to play into your own event in a way, right? Like there's a ton of pressure there.
There's a carrot.
I think the Justice steal this one. I really do. I mean, look, don't come out and play that wrecking ball stuff again, please. but I think they're fine everywhere else.
Well, first map on the docket here is Busan, so definitely a control map that lends itself a little less to that style we saw from the Justice yesterday. Explosive, sometimes God. Literally as much as... Hey, I'm sorry. You're not forgetting the Flora 3K pulse bomb that Ben Best obviously purposely set up.
He had to get like a 5K with a triple pulse bomb for them to lose by 30% on that point. They
were about to get mulched in that fight if that hadn't happened, to be fair. But hey, there are things you can't be counting on. But when you bring players like Flora, Alfie into your team, Mira's doing this to us again. He did this to us yesterday as well. I think he really wants to play the wrecking ball. I don't think he's allowed to, though. I'm pretty sure Get Him Ace has a bit of a tighter leash on that than we might think.
Probably. But I know we saw Flora play really strong yesterday. He was our player of the match. And then Alfie, I thought, was really good yesterday as well. So this is one I think is going to be a little bit closer. I think Johnny said he had a 3-2, but the graphics said 3-0. So I'm going to assume he had a 3-0.
Yeah, I don't. Not much to say about that one. Hey, last match day before our patch break. So the final opportunity for teams to express themselves on this particular patch. And as a result, we get mirrored comps here. Unsurprisingly, heading to the first round of Busan, it will be Kaluge peeking and poking towards Mira now, and Ultraviolet has a relatively safe off angle to play from. Point will unlock is an early hack on Kaluge that forces him out of the fray early.
Yeah, it just forces him back a little bit, but he's going to be able to get back in the fight rather quickly. But actually, Opener got hit with a biotic grenade that comes in from the side from Teru, so losing your break's pretty tough.
Alfie looking pretty dangerous. He was doused by a Bionade himself, and it looked like Spectra was hoping to capitalize, but there was a Winston bubble thrown down reactively by Miri. See it just dissipating now. So the Justice off that first pick, get a first fight win. Oh, Hydron. That hurts.
But, I mean, my guess would be you didn't have a translocator available. It gets kind of burnt down there pretty quick. But, yeah, now that you lose your Sombra, you're going to give up another 10, 20% here, right? Just waiting for Hydron to get back in the fight and then also, drop a translocator, get in a position to make a play. So, really good start for the Justice.
Trying to poke like that with a translocator akin to jumping out of a plane without a parachute at times. Hydron, very risky business for him there. Terry hacked briefly, Samira copying a little bit of damage, and Kaluge is perched up on top of the drum, marching to his own beat as he forces the opposing tank away. Teru already having built that nano boost, and Ultraviolet is verging on his own immediately. Mira is unleashed, headed towards Opener, but it's a whip shot to stave him off for now. From the high ground, Mira notices a Bionade thrown out, thinks this is his opportunity to go in, and it's missleeped up, but elsewhere, Spectra's able to find Yonghun here. Mira's trying to contest his backline on his own. It took a while for Alfie to turn up.
Yeah, and no, Alfie misses the pulse bomb there on the back line, so don't have that same connection. As Mira actually comes back, uses the Primal Rage. I was wondering, are you going to use this to maybe contest? But jumps back in the mix with the Primal, but really just uses to get the health back.
Yeah, I think he may have overextended into the back line there and just managed to get out alive, hitting that Primals. Kaluge would have felled him with his right click. So the Defiant are in charge for now, and crucially they have this rally in play. They need to keep Opener away from this EMP, but there's no chance. Opener falls back in the corner, gets the defensive Bionade though, and is able to hang on. Spectra in the meantime deals with Alpha here, and the Defiant get the rally off, looking to extend their lead now as the Justice, their advance is blunted.
Yeah, but the Justice do have a rally here as well, as Teru's going to get the benefits of that just a little bit as they're trying to keep him alive, but not enough. But I thought for a second there they were going to catch Toronto off guard coming on in. So it's going to be Toronto Defiant getting pretty close here to tying it up.
It's got to feel bad. Dongun going for the rally there. It wasn't enough to keep Teru or Mira alive, so they just get staggered further, and the Defiant clamber back into the game.
So we'll see in this next fight, as it kicks off, right? You're looking at Alfie maybe connecting with a pulse bomb in the back line, and then Terry has at Nano. We'll see who he decides to give it to.
Alfie at risk of being hacked there. Able to blink away from it for now. Will trade with Spectra at length, but eventually the Justice need to get into gear and in position to capture the point. What great follow-up there for Alfie on the hack. Ultraviolet crumples instantly before he gets caught by Kaluge as he comes back for revenge. Hydron revealed as he tries to cross, but Alfie didn't have a recall. Caught out in the open by the Winston. Still the Defiant in control. Doggone hack landed on by Kaluge. The pressure is immense and it's too much for the Brig to handle. Once more the Justice have to turn tail, but they're running out of time.
Man, that's typically a trade you're willing to take if you're the Justice. You get rid of the other team's Ana, and you end up losing your Sombra there for a period of time. It looks like it'll just be Flora there to touch.
Now Opener gives him a shield bash there, knows that the Sombra is lurking, and Mira face first into an EMP, lights out as the Toronto Defiant come back. Yeah, a pretty big deficit early, like a 50-odd% that Toronto, once they get on that point, they don't let it go.
Yeah, they definitely started to get rolling once they got control of the point. It was pretty much all Defiant after that, even though Justice able to pick up some kills, just not able to make any type of significant impact in the fight. So we'll see as we move further into Busan if the Defiant can keep it up. And I think, like the Des mentioned, like this is so important for the Defiant, right? You get to, you lose this, you end up with 9 losses, like 7-8 wins might be kind of where you need to be for the play-in. So it puts them in a really, it kind of puts them with the Gladiators, right? It like opens up the door for maybe even the Gladiators to sneak their way on in.
Yeah, 9 losses might be curtains. At least it puts them in a pretty rough spot here. Straight away, first stop.
So the Echo. Yeah, so we've seen teams run the Echo. I feel like a bunch when we've cast it, and I feel like we've seen it definitely backfire a little bit more than it's worked out. So I'm interested to see how Toronto makes use of it.
That is such a safe spot, though, for Echo to play from. Even Mira can't really fully commit there. You notice that he sort of did a drive-by, threw down a Winston bubble and backed away. These purge positions are so good for Spectre to play from here. Couldn't convert there with a focusing V, but has Mira very low.
Yeah, it's just really high damage output here in the choke, right? Not even able to get near the point. This Mir gets low, but Spectre's not going to turn the corner to try and finish him off.
Awkward for Alfie there, has to kind of poke at Spectre from mid-range. Takes his attention off Hydron, who turns up to accost him and regain the high ground for himself. Spectre's in danger here, great danger, and Flora's able to bring him down with that biter grenade. Great stuff for Teru to set it up.
And he makes it look so easy, like a double, hits the Winston and the Echo there. From the low ground, throwing that up to high, like that is so difficult to do.
Flora drops into the crosshairs here for a top-up, and Mira heads elsewhere. Opener's shield is about to crack here, but gets a defensive Bionade from Ultraviolet, who now might be the object of scrutiny. Sticky bombs don't seem to bother Mira too much. He's got built-in windstream wipers, apparently. He won't be able to find a kill with that, though. The Justice use his opportunity to at least flip. Ultraviolet's still under pressure here, but Mira has to be careful. It's going to be Kaluge elsewhere with the Primal Rage to pressure a backline.
Yeah, and Kaluge got the benefits of a nano boost a little bit earlier, so the nano used on Kaluge, and then also the Primal Rage. It's a 3-player EMP, but it doesn't look like the follow-up's there.
Opener had enough time to get the rally. This is good news for Kaluge, who can stick around, and Spectra copied it. Ana, Pulse Bomb dropped. Alfie stunned briefly by the rally bash, so couldn't get to his target. And Spectra is free healing from this high ground position. Normally, you just can't access this spot as Ana, but Spectra makes full use of it, and that is dirty. The sleep on Alfie. This guy, he's all over it.
Dude, that is nuts. Obviously, being up there is Ana. Ana can't actually get there alone.
There's a reason why there's not stairs up there, you know?
Yeah, it's a pretty nutty position to play from. And then the sleep at the end on Alfie is, that is bad news for the Justice. They use pretty much everything in that fight.
Alfie detected on approach towards the middle part of the map. He's not paying Hydra too much attention.
He's trying to arrest Hydra. That was crazy.
Hydra's like, excuse me, I'm right here. What am I, pork chop, bowl of goldfish?
Just the disrespect to just to stand on the same platform as the other Tracer with your back turned.
Goodness. Pulse here. Donghorn. Got a lot to deal with right now. Hydron thought about it, but perhaps Mira with the nano might be an issue. Wow, Hydron cops a licking as he approaches the middle of the map. Oh, there it is. Focusing being cleans up Mira. The bubble couldn't get where it needed to be, and the Toronto Defiant keep piling the pressure on. Pulse bomb there, no connection, but Hydron was able to follow up and deal with Teru. And it's all Toronto all the time right now. Busan very much one-sided after a slow start for this Toronto squad. Mira can't touch and Flora can't get there. First map, Defiant.
I mean, that was dominant from Defiant in map 1. That the second round really, in particular, Spectra on the Echo definitely put it to good use. There at the end gets the benefits of the Nano, just able to burn Mirror down. So I think the Defiant, they definitely feel like they need a big win here today, not just like a 3-1, 3-2, close nail biter. Just get them out of here quick.
Yeah, again, they know. There's a lot of pressure. It's a meme, not being able to attend your own home sort of event. Again, the Defiant have a lot more work to do. This little refresh, this little rebuild, as Jake coined it, with Opener on Spectra rather, joining the squad. Spectra has really taken this team to the next level. Now it's a matter of converting on that, getting a clean win here. We talked about map differential a lot. When you're at 6 and 7, 5 and 8, you really need to make sure you have clean wins from here on out. This one, that doesn't get much cleaner than that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a really good start here for Toronto. You just need to keep it going for the rest of the series, right? I think, like Jake had mentioned, he kind of favored Kaluj over Mirror in that Winston battle. I definitely thought you saw Kaluj make his impact on the game here.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Playing quite aggressively, Mirror often forced to turn back, whether it's a Bionade or just great coordination between Open and Ultraviolet. This Echo play was sort of messed up. You're really changing,
so silly.
You really subvert some of the core paradigms of the game when you can play Ana from that position, and some of the stuff Spectre has done has been completely out there. So, Iconvolta up next. Chance for more Echo hijinks here. Stick around. It's the Justice and Defiant, and it starts off hot already.
cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the. Wake up, get out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the.
Yeah, I hear him chatting the noise. And stop for the talking. Like fire on the pond. If you wanna touch my please use caution.
Their initial showing on Busan, pretty convincing. Very tight Winston play. Spectra moving over to Echo in that second round. Looked like there was no counterplay on the side of the Justice, and they really just allowed it all to happen from there on out.
Well, it didn't look like there was no counterplay. There definitely was no counterplay. I mean, we didn't really see them kind of be able to do anything there against Spectra, where him and Kalush really kind of controlled the high ground. As I would say, the Justice still not out of this series. Map 1, kind of toss that away if you're the Justice. I think now, really though, here on Eichenwald, you have to battle back strong. And I also think this is tough because the Echo could be good again here.
Right, see some teams go for it. We've even seen some teams try it on offense, right? Pocketed by a Mercy, which has had middling results, because generally an unpocketed Echo can still prevail in that situation based on all the burst damage that she has. Comes in too quickly for Mercy to heal through. So, might see that come out, especially for defense, right? Just like that single Echo, as we've talked about ad nauseum at this point, playing around that clock tower on point A. I guess one of the biggest gulfs that is emerging here is probably in the tank position. We saw Kaluj able to have a vastly greater impact than Mira over a lot of these sporadic fights that occurred on Busan. That's definitely some way to train your eyes, as Kaluj he's been on the tools, man. He's been hitting it hard, and the Winston's looking very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. As it'll be the Defiant here on defense, so they'll actually run the Echo, which I think where you saw the success of like that, Echo with the Winston and Tracer, like the ability to keep following up kills. Like, why not run that again, right? We'll see what the Justice side do on offense.
Sorry, yes. What we really like, I think, is what we saw from Teru yesterday, and even at times during that first map. Really developed into quite an incredible flex support player, having come over from DPS. Teru's something to keep an eye on here. Great setup player as well. Speaking of setups, it's Ultraviolet with a pretty standard nade out of the gates here. We've seen some teams take Kiriko to throw Protection Suzu at their team as they walk out to avoid being affected by the bio.
Look at Mirror's health bar.
Yeah.
I mean, not even near the choke. He's basically dead. I mean, that was kind of how it was there on Busan in the second round. I don't know what they got to do to try and keep him alive.
Oh! Nicely done! The poke damage on Spectra was real. I wonder to what degree Teru was involved in that. Look at the damage. Look at the health bars of Kaluj here. Now he realizes it's a little bit hard to stay around. Opener trying to make use of the closer quarters, keep them topped up via Inspire. That's just not remotely going to be enough. Very nice opening here from the Justice, and it all starts with Spectra falling first.
Man, that is a nice snipe there from Mirror, getting the Echo out of the sky. But now what do? We've talked a little bit about when you play the Echo on this map, like maybe the second point's not the best because you can just close the gap and you're not able to fly as high and away and keep that distance as you can here on the first point. Not a lot of cover as well.
It's the transition between where Spectra is now and the top of the battlements, right? So you've got two positions that qualify as off angles to play from. I think on attack it's awful. Teams try and play the Echo on attack and it just hasn't panned out whatsoever. Alfie's going to go for it, but you know where he's playing from. Very much the opposite side of the map from his opposite number in Spectra, trying to use that tall tower for cover on the attacking side. Then maybe pop over the battlements and, get that ladders up there a la Helm's Deep when it's time to part with the cooldowns. Alfie gets nanoed here. Great bubble from Kaluj. Nothing stops an Echo better than a Winston bubble. And still, Spectra's not being able to get away. Tickled by the focusing beam as Teru gets those shots in. And I think, confirms to me, Teru's been very involved in pressuring Spectra away.
Yeah, and that was actually the nano boost used onto both Echoes there to get them up in the sky, start to do tons of damage. But the Justice looking much better here on this second map. Above 4 minutes, and you're making your way down the bridge here. That is huge amount of time. And this is going to be the primal right away from Kaluj.
Yeah, question is like what the plan is. Looks like Kaluj created enough space for Hydron to slip in there and get the finishing blow on Mira. From here on out, it's very hard to come back in this fight, providing Kaluj can keep that health pool high. Okay.
Well, they do get Spectra, and then they're going to rally here, so this is definitely not over for the Justice.
Yeah, it's the element of volatility that the Echo brings to these fights, right? The burst damage to equalize numbers so rapidly. And Alfie Alfie has a duplicate here. I think he's trying to find Teru. Where is that pesky Ana? He's going to have to dupe anyone at this point. He gets a Tracer. He's probably happy enough with that if it's a lucky dip we're looking at. As Mira and Donghun there turn up. Both backliners are down. For the hapless Defiant, they haven't been in the game so far at Eichenwald, and that's evidenced by the time bank of over 5 minutes.
Oh, and that is a sick sleep there. Actually, Teru connects on the sleep on Spectra up on the high ground when Spectra goes on a little bit of a flank to try and duplicate the Ana, as almost 5 minutes here for the Justice to finish the map. It's like an eternity here towards the end. Is you know, we're staying with these echoes, it looks like, the entire map.
Alpha wants to force it here. Spectra not inclined to switch off either. But the difference maker for the Justice, Alpha's impact has been undeniable. Alpha goes in again.
Nano here for the Justice. Do you decide to do Nano Alpha on the way
in this phase of the map? Probably. Yeah, I suspect you would. It's just a little risky to play Echo here in general. A lot of damage. And there it is. What a swing and health bar we saw from Spectra there. Flora getting involved in that kill as well. Nanoed Echo with sort of a multiplicative increase in damage from that focusing beam. Very hard to keep track of there, but Teru's finally brought down. He's been a big problem as well. That Thorn extracted from the side of the Defiant. Now they find themselves able to move.
Yeah, I mean, losing Teru, you're absolutely screwed there, right? I mean, you get the kill on the Echo, but it's like not the highest like priority target. Like if you're going around the corner and you're using the Nano, so you do end up getting Spectra, but you don't get a support. You don't get like Kaluge, right? You're not able to really kind of progress the payload from there.
Alpha gets duplicate on board here. I wonder if your priority changes now, or do you can sort of pick Ana in this part of the map? We're about to find out. Hydron there just wants to make it so...
right?
Yes, I suppose. Rally could be huge here. A free one at least. You'd have 2 in this fight. Oh, Hydron. Oh, okay, just gets away. Good awareness there from Opener. Throw the repair pack over and get him done. Gonna be Alfie duping and Ana here, but gets slept instantly. Knocked out of dupe by Hydron, but Mira's able to sneak in there and get rid of Ultraviolet. Now Kaluge has a primal as well. There's so much to lean on for the defenders here, but Mira's causing all sorts of problems. Look at the back line. Opener now is down. The Washington Justice are looking to clean up.
Yeah, but the Defiants are going to be able to come out of spawn and fight this pretty hard, right? You have a Nano here and a duplicate to be able to use, as I don't know if the Justice have enough to push this one the distance.
God, Mira getting both of those plays. They're still not going to do it.
Kaluge.
Yeah, and look at the burn down. What a combo that is with that focusing beam. Ultraviolet's trying to stay as safe as possible, but eventually Mira's going to accost him. He slept though. Great response. Ultraviolet keeps itself alive, buys enough time to build up a Nano. It's sent in Opener's direction now. Rally and Nano boost from the brig. Extremely tough nut to crack, and Spectra is surging ahead. In that duplicated Tracer form, that's 3. That is dirty.
Oh, I mean, he cleans up big time towards the end. As that got kind of dangerous, right? You end up losing Kaluge. It's a nice biotic grenade. I couldn't actually tell if it was from Alpha when he got the duplicate and then just like maybe threw the nade and then just got slept, or if it was from Teru, but just holding on there at the very end. The payload's so close to getting over the line.
3 minutes off the clock in this phase of the map for the Justice. Hydron trying to camp the health pack again, looking to control Flora's flank angles as much as possible. Can't let him off the leash here. Into the duel though, scary prospect. Flora's hard to follow here. Recall forced by Hydron. Flora pops his second and Hydron gets out of the fight. Opts to take the mega health pack, and Flora now has to take a more direct approach. He'll be pushing into spawn now. Pulse thrown, Opener caught by that one, but Flora trades his life out for it. Alpha duping the Ana here, but a pulse from Hydron getting rid of Donghun. Both brigs are out of the picture now. Alpha has to keep a more respectful distance, and Mira agrees it's time to get out once more.
And as Alpha goes for the duplicate again on the Ana, he actually connects with 2 different bio grenades, both on the Kaluge, and then lands asleep, but you just lack the damage output, right? I know, especially when you're going to go into that close quarter area. Oh, we're going to see the Sojourn in play.
Disruptor shot, especially powerful here. Even so much as it denies, you know, I guess ingress for Hydron. He tries to push up on defense. And that bio Alfie has to be a little bit careful. Sticks around, gets dove, backs up. Disruptor shot thrown down, and Kaluge now running out of options when he gets the nano boost. And again, there's going to be a slide away from Teru. Gets caught. Thought it would be Alpha on the platter there, and it will be just a delayed meal. And eventually the Defiant work their way through the Justice once more. We're down to 40 seconds.
Yes, they stay pushed up as they cannot get rid of Kaluge. Even though he gets hit with the nade sometimes, that time he ends up getting the benefits of the Nano, and there's no stopping him as 25 seconds left. Somebody's going to have to get a touch here. I mean, the Defiant playing so close.
Nano for Mira, presumably now, is the Echo candidate no longer on the table. With Kalush playing close to that corner here, hoping to build a rally for the next 5 minutes. Going to be the Defiant goal on the aggressive, and Dogwood's taken down already. Kalush gets involved now as well. It's Mira getting the Nano just to try and keep the car moving. There's something here potentially for the Justice. Mira still has a primal to work through, and he pops it straight away. Wants to chase Hydron down, but the ladder's able to find a health pack and keep himself scarce from the Winston. Mira is able to read the recall, but really wants to head back to the car and keep it contested now. Kalush sees a rally, but still chooses to jump away. The Pulse Bomb got stuck to the outside of the bubble, so Mira gets a reprieve, but it's a short one at that. Eventually, Flora will fall, and Alphagee's too far away to touch. Spectra dupes the Reaper, and the Defiant somehow hold back the red tide.
I mean, really good defense there towards the end from the Defiant, because the Justice, they move into that final part of the map, like above 4 minutes on the clock, a ton of time, but you know, it's like you have that Echo composition in there. You can do some, but you're not able to make it around that final corner where you see towards the end they actually kind of go towards the Sojourn, they go towards some of the other picks to try and make it work.
And what do you think about the Sojourn, I guess, in this part of the map? We've seen it for longer sightlines, Circa Royale. It's a popular pick, but Alpha doesn't seem to get much more success.
Seemed to like a little bit of more, potentially maybe like desperation towards the end, right? I think you saw them also go to the Reaper as well there at the very end. So I think it's like realizing you needed to make a switch. It's just what is the right switch to go to. And Sojourn there, you're just trying to get like a one-shot, right? I mean, you can build up charge rather quickly, and then all you're looking at is getting one of those headshots with a railgun or even a body shot, and you finish it off.
That bio still
so it is the bio grenade that comes. Yeah, it is the bio grenade from Alfie, but just a really nice sleep.
You'll notice that the kill eventually achieved, but so much was spent in trying to pick Ultraviolet off there that it's not a good enough trade for the Washington Justice to make real progress there.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go once more. Opener briefly on the Lucio, but back to the Brig, of course. Echo's dueling here. Alpha giving us proof of concept about playing, attacking Echo in that second phase of the map, is able to make it work. Let's see if Spectra has the same plan.
Well, and let's see if the Justice can put together a little bit of a better defense than the Defiant. Think back to the Defiant's defense. Spectra got picked off really fast, and then they were just able to kind of like steamroll into the point. If you're the Justice, you get a hold or two here, you set yourselves up pretty good to just kind of burn clock the rest of the map.
Keep an eye on the zone that Alpha actually chooses to occupy, and when he decides to extend further forward. Only when he knew he had the kill on Kalush secured, he goes for it with the focusing beam here. Playing rather conservatively, maybe uncharacteristic. As soon as he has a chance to be aggressive, that player advantage now manifesting. It's go, go, go for the Justice.
Yes, Kalush actually gets hit with a bio grenade at the beginning there, and they try to actually follow up that sleep onto Mirror, and it does not pay out well as both players inside that room got hit with a bio.
That hurts. Kalush.
Little fadeaway there as he goes back into the spawn, but really nice start for the Justice.
Now, it's frustrating for Kalush. Another 6 to 8 seconds lost by those sticky bombs connecting. So how do we play around Alpha now with a duplicate? The math gets a bit more complex, and I'm sorry, Hydron just succumbs there off screen. Alpha able to find that kill from what appeared to be long range.
Yes, I mean, really good start here. Is you really haven't had to use any ultimates for any of these, right? You've just been kind of like winning them in the neutral. So you think now on the defensive side of things, you have that obviously inherited advantage for being able to use some of these ultimates. That's going to be the Nano on the Mirror as he jumps in deep.
Nothing the Ultraviolet can do there. Hydron finding a pulse on Alpha, though, is quite notable. Able to find revenge on the previous kill. So 4 versus 4, Mirror is not on the point here, so we will have a cap beginning for the Toronto Defiant and a regroup now for the Justice. He'll be back soon enough, though. Very quickly, Spectra had to take to the skies. He does have Duplicate on board now as well. An opportunity to make use of it here, but wants to use a flat cooldown before making the dupe itself. Kalush in grave danger here. Yep, couldn't stay alive. The rally came from opener just a little bit too late, and Ultraviolet not in position to make use of the Nano. That's devastating here for the attackers. They look like they had a real crack at it. They'll have to take 2 ticks and be happy with it.
Yeah, and for a second I thought Kalush was going to end up using his Primal, right? He's got the Primal, but does not end up using it. Is really early on in the fight where you saw Mirror get the Nano, then they get Ultraviolet. They thought about going even further for Opener. He was there as well, but they had to double back to go and try and protect the point. And just a really nice, pincer there from the Justice to come from both sides.
Nano here on Echo of Spectra, opting not to dupe yet for obvious reasons. Teru forced back inside the hunting lodge, and now a 20,000-foot view of the situation for Spectra. Hopefully he makes the right decision based on this info, but his backline, that's, well, a pulse bomb per support. That's a pretty good rate.
I also thought that was a really nice play from Alfie in the sense that Spectra gets the Nano and gets like right in his face after he gets a little bit low, and to get a new health pool and get out of dodge, he actually does the duplicate. He looks straight down, duplicates the Tracer, and just gets out of the way. So the Nano on the Echo not able to find a kill there at the start, and then really kind of goes for nothing as Alfie is going crazy on Tracer.
We're down to 30 seconds here, Toronto. Things are looking grim. We're up the proverbial without a paddle. Kalush at least is able to set up here a staging ground relatively close to the objective now. He'll just walk straight up and use that jump for maybe safety, or just go straight into Primal. The Primal he wished he could have used in the previous fight. We are double Winston. It's monkey magic on the point for the Defiant here. Can Spectra get involved in the action and maybe get Mirror out of the picture? Sticky's on Spectra, owning 300 HP on this duplicated Winston after those changes. And it's going to be a rally forcing him back. Donghun.
Rally? Oh, wow.
He will brook no nonsense here. The rally in play, and Donghun staying alive with that big old shield. It's going to be Hydron forced away from the point here. The Defiant have the players though to contest. 91.7. Okay, Winston out of the picture, but there's still more to play for. Opener is here. Looks like Hydron is in position as well, but that's it. The last vestiges, the last drips of the Defiant's assault are starting to dry up. Ultraviolet can't touch, and that was an abysmal showing for the attackers. Dude. Conversely, what a hold.
Yeah, that was a sick hold there from the Justice. Once Teru falls, it looks like they're just gonna kind of back out potentially, and Donghun gets forced out by Kalush, but ends up coming back in with a rally. Helps Mirror, who's got the Primal Rage, and Flora on the Tracer on the point to be able to get the hold. Didn't see that one coming. When I thought they lost the Ana, I thought they were gonna back up and say, hey, we did a good enough job. Let's just hold here on the second point, but man, really nice bounce back there from the Justice.
And that really reliable element of Alfie now switching over to the Echo for this map makes all the difference for the Washington Justice. Very well played. It's now time for a quick tete-a-tete before we jump into our third map. But again, looking back over Eichenwalde, a lot of missed opportunities for the Defiant. One you point out, Matt, is I think there's one fight where it's pretty winnable. Kalush dies really early, has Primal Rage. It's going to be a tough one to look back on, I guess, but we'll stick around, see map number 3 play out right after this. It's tied in the series. Well, it's been a tale of two different maps so far in this series, as very quickly we realised that Justice are able to carry through some of their momentum from yesterday's game. Eichenwald is very much a wash in favour of the Justice, and Alpha E, yep, that Echo play was sublime. You see stats from Eichenwald.
Yeah, as you kind of see the duplicate kill is really going to go crazy on the Tracer, right? But more just burn players down with that focusing beam, and then just the large amounts of damage. I mean, in the 11 minutes played.
I mean, there was one fight, I think, where the kill feed shows both Defiant supports dying to individual pulse. I think that was
one from Alfie, one from Flora.
Yeah, it wasn't like a double pulse kill. I'm like, oh man, yeah, it's tough out there when you've got two amazing Tracer players, both playing Tracer. Again, breaking some of the core tenets of, hero lock. Alfie and Flora combining very admirably on that map, and it wasn't really close at all. Not much bite to the bark of the Defiant's offense on Eichenwald. But hey, still a whole series to play now. We're at 1 apiece.
And the series becomes like way more interesting, I feel like, right? Because we got a little bit of a blowout in map number 1, and then we get a blowout in map number 2 going the other way, right? So as we move into Dorado, I think this is like really kind of like anybody's game. Pretty telling. I'm interested to see if we, we've seen some teams like run the Widow to like good success here, right? Potentially an option for either of these teams. Hydron's been fantastic on it, and then also, Flora has been great on it in the past.
Yeah, we're, teams defending, playing, Widowmaker back on that sort of high ground just behind the first point. Being very hard to shake loose and being very punishing. Even the sort of Winstons that try and close the gap, they're taking headshots all the time. That's something that when Hydron was on the Florida Mayhem, they really tried to put him in a position to play Widowmaker. During the time in that meta, for example, we got our sort of stage final tournaments, they would pick Gibraltar just for that reason. Here though, it looks like the game plan, the protocols are a little bit different for Toronto. Spectra instead gets to take the spotlight, at least in terms of hero selection. It'll be Echo on defense for Toronto.
What do you think about that?
Well, I'm actually sort of fine with it. On this first part of the map, right, it can be pretty impactful. Especially if the attacking team is trying to play slow or set up a little bit, you give a lot of space to Spectra. I expect to see just more Echo dueling in general. I have questions about how it plays out in the second and third phases of this map, but for now, pretty reasonable to see Echo picked here.
Yeah, we'll see it from the Justice here on offense as well. So, interesting, that obviously Kalush gets to the final there. That doesn't have to back up, but in a matchup of similar compositions to Eichenwald, where this is where the Justice looked really strong. We're going to see it again here.
Yeah, just as Mira has to pull out, so does Kalush here. So we do get the cart shoved up here close to the choke. Spectra's taking a lot of poke from the low ground. Terry been very, very good at trying to keep his eyes on Spectra and limit the impact that he's able to have on this Echo via aggression. I like this little corner here, right, for Echo. Really annoying to sort of play around. Echo is like a lot of ways. And again, like playing around this part of the map is a little riskier, I think. It's like harder. Yeah, you see Alpha, you're harder to get value, but play from high, only dive down when you have to. It's decent, but it will be a slower start for the Justice.
Yeah, and this will be the true big test, right? Is trying to, break this setup here around this first choke. Is Ultraviolet already here with a nano.
Yeah, just no scope healing there. Pretty comfortable from range as Kalush is taking just poke damage. He knows he wants to get that nano up in time. Hydron has recall here. Was able to play around that fact and try and control Flora's movements just that little bit more here. That'll force a recall from his opposite number.
Yes, it looks like the Justice just kind of like poking, figuring out which way to go from, and they're also building up their own nano, and that's going to be an Alfie.
Now, Flora, though, the difference maker. Well, we've got two Echoes lit up like Christmas trees. It's Flora getting in and doing the honest work on the ground floor. Opener falls to a pulse bomb. Alfie eventually is able to prevail in that Echo duel, maybe in part due to the lack of support on the other side. The Justice break through. They play to their win conditions. Very ultimate heavy, though.
Yeah, and it's not like, at least in the last two maps, right? Like where, Hydron is like lost this Tracer battle in like a horrible way. Like I actually think both Tracers have played quite well. It's just Flora making those pulse bombs like matter so much, right? Being able to connect with one there in the last map, right? Even Alpha E chiming in for the pulse bomb kills. Look at this, a little bit of a, maybe gonna just come up from the side here, kind of clears off the mark.
Toby for an underdupe, I think. Pop up Anadu, throw Bio down, have that extra life, so to speak. He gets spotted though. Spectra's able to sort of flow down and find him. Ultraviolet under a lot of pressure here. Mirror him with a Vita Grenade. Has to go for the primal. And he's not going to be able to find Ultraviolet. So eventually that setup from Alfie with the stickies is followed up upon with Mirror, and he takes out Hydron as well with the primal.
I think just on the way out, just maybe not even intended to get him there. That is the rally as well there used from the Defiant. So for the Justice coming in next fight, Pulse Bomb and your rally here, probably also your Nano to be able to kind of get the card over the line. I feel like you're in desperation mode here for the Defiant to get a fight win. Looks like Alfie looking at Flora and probably Mirror's screen trying to set something up.
Spectra, good timing, finds the invulnerability frame just as Alfie unloads his cooldowns on him. Alfie into the duplicate of the Tracer now. Again, very much in his wheelhouse on this pick. Ultraviolet, one Bionade's not going to be enough. That's the stick, and nothing that could be done by Opener to keep his other support alive. Alfie giving him the old chop chop, apparently. That'll be the Defiant once again snuffed out.
And we talked a little bit about it yesterday when we casted the Justice, but really like how just versatile both DPS players are. You can see how good of a Tracer Alfie can be when he has the opportunity to play it, right? Flora's Pulse Bomb misses, and guess what? Alfie on the dude comes in. His does not, as he connects with it on Ultraviolet and then picks up 2 more kills. It's above 4 minutes remain here for the Justice to complete the map.
The Justice denied the high ground spot for now. No chance really to follow up on Opener Bionade, I think. Yeah, the Justice looking for it, but... All right. Coming up empty-handed so far. Okay, here comes the Nano towards Spectra. What's he looking for, though? Playing pretty safe. Yeah, just wants to shut down Mirror, I think. That's a good start. Guarantee a high ground position, make it impossible to assail for now, and the Justice, they can read the writing on the wall.
Well, they also just needed a stop, right? I mean, at that point, just find anybody. It looked like he was maybe going to go for the back line, and I believe he actually gets hit with a whip shot, knocks him back a little bit, and then the call comes and Mirror is really low. Just turns around and finishes him off. So at least they get a stop here. The card's still making some progress, right? Tracer just moving it all on the floor zone.
This doesn't hurt. Hydron, he gets to play. Oh my goodness, that's not good. Gets to play a flank angle close to the card. I was going to say before it just descends on him. The guy's got murder in his eyes. Kaluza jump away here. This is pretty scary for the Winston. You can't protect your team at that point. You're already turning pale and running. And that wasn't 2 separate pulse bombs. No, it's a 2-for-1 from Flora, who is just absolutely dialed in.
I would love to see a clip of that because it looked like actually Opener got hit, and I wonder if he actually shield bashed in almost towards his Ana, or if Ultraviolet was working his way out. But that is a full map completion. That is not a C9 from the Justice. It's an ugly map number 1, but they have been fantastic since then.
So one thing that really stood out to me was how much value the Justice were getting from their ultimates, right? Their win condition with the Echo, Tracer, Winston composition does hinge upon those ults. That first fight, right, you see Alfie get nanoed, I think Spectra got nanoed as well. But Flora goes in, gets a free kill with a pulse bomb to support, fight over. Next fight, it's Mirror with a Primal Rage, somehow coming out with 2 kills, right? One, it's following up Alfie's poke damage on towards Ultraviolet. The second is just Hydron, I don't know, rotates into his orbit and gets clapped. All of a sudden, the Justice still have 3 ults. They're working on a huge ult bank. They're making a ton of progress per ult, I would suggest, whereas the Defiant, very much the other side of that coin. That's why the time bank is so massive coming into the last phase of the map, 5 minutes or so, and really, the Defiant just have to make one more mistake, and then the Justice just sail home with, 2 minutes and 41 to play.
It's crazy. It's a lot of time, right? I feel like the ultimate usage for the Justice for the second phase of the map was awesome. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So he connects with the Pulse Bomb. Oh, and the Primal, actually.
Good sleep, but Opener, patient 0 there for the Pulse Bomb to see.
He just lays there on the ground.
But at that point, right, Kalush can do nothing to defend his team. All of the Justice on the Defiant are pushed up against that back wall. So your tank is useless at that point. Kalush is just trying to find someone to top him up.
So we'll see a mirror matchup yet again here from these teams. It's interesting, right? Because the Justice, they end up losing the second round on Busan. And basically this composition, right? They're playing a Sombra of their own. on Busan. But since they put Alfie on the Echo, right, and decided to match this, they've been the stronger team in this look.
I mean, Spectra's now going up against a battle-tested veteran of some very, very high-stakes Overwatch League games. That's a big ask. The Justice are leveraging Alpha like a club. Nothing subtle about it. Just get the job done. Hands dirty, no dramas.
I mean, Alfie was playing really well at the beginning of the season, where Johnny was even saying like MVP. There he dies in the ultraviolet. But I mean, having him play that strong, at least through the series thus far, has been great. But this is a fight that the Defiants are going to win. And I wonder, you might get a second fight here if you're the Justice, but it looks unlikely.
So, you see how important that Echo kill is. At that point, Kalush just can do whatever he wants. There's just no threat, really, unless there's like a Tracer Pulse Bomb. There's 0 burst damage. Maybe there's a Bionade at that point to worry about, but the Defiant just pushed up. Very, very good job to try and make back some of the time lost here, or rather given up to the Justice. And again, doing it sort of fairly efficiently as well. What a big pulse here from Hydron. He's struggled to match up against Flora at times.
Yeah, and this is the part of the map where they can make up a ton of time, right? The Defiant, they have a great .1 take. If you can kind of carry that in here towards the second phase of the map, give yourself an opportunity to finish with, at least the same amount of time, be around in the ballpark with the Justice were.
Here we go, Charlie's Angels again. Both Echoes getting that nano boost. Spectra forced to dump altitude here, wants to copy the Winston instead. Upstairs we go. Building very quickly towards the primal rage, but again, 300 health, it's not much to write home about, and eventually Spectra has to give it up.
Yeah, as you're not able to break that setup up top, but you do end up having the Justice invest the rally there. So, although you don't kind of get any kills there up on the high ground, you force the rally out. That is a huge ultimate that they may want a little bit later.
Ah, that's a tasty morsel. Or is it? Call an ambulance, but not for me, apparently. Spectra flies on in there. Kalush with the primal over to fight 2. First flattening Teru. The perfect sleeper agent, that's right. Literally sleeping there. Looks like the Justice thought they had him dead to rights, but they couldn't have been more wrong.
As now the Justice are getting rolled. I mean, this does not make any sense thus far, right? But they have, kind of thrown some ultimates in there. As Flora's actually going to get on and get a touch. Looks like Alfie has to just basically use the duplicate to stay alive there, as he takes a big chunk of damage coming in. Mirror's got Primal. I imagine he decides to use it. Yeah, they feel like they need to stop.
The rally of the Defiant, though, that's quite frightening. Kalush having to stay alive. The bubble time is so good. Intercepting Alpha Gee's free pulse bomb. Kalush is now back and ready to fight once more. He flat stomped into the backside, and Hydron's there with a follow-up. Great assignment of the pulse bomb there. And I think the Justice are again going to get absolutely smashed. Another checkpoint coming up here. Another extension, 4:35 to play.
Yeah, as they kind of have to try and make a play there, the Justice, right? You're in such a terrible spot, just giving up the cart and the checkpoints, almost as fast as you kind of did to the Defiant. But now the Defiant, they push up, they take high ground here. I like this. I mean, you have the nano here. You can use on the Spectre, you can use on Kalush. You're in a spot where you can set a fantastic time of your own.
Yeah, they are extra insistent on trying to get that little podium position, the Defiant. Teru again on Spectra duty. Nano boost available there, trying to keep Alpha Gear lined up, send him in. Oh, okay, I don't think he meant that, man. I don't think Flora was supposed to receive the nano there. And in the meantime, Spectra has found his way towards Mirror, carving him into pieces with that focusing beam. Flora's nano gets him absolutely nothing as opener, belts his brains in.
Kalush gets low, but they're not able to finish him. He goes over the top. He's going to have Primal. You already used your rally here. Things just falling apart now for the Justice. Their offense looked great. All smiles from everybody, but they're just getting beat down here.
Mirror, yeah, he's done. Rally now in play. This should be over in a matter of moments now. The Toronto Defiant find a surge of energy, a burst of lethality, and they finish the map with more time than the Justice. Now listen, I know that in the interest of fluidity, most pro players don't use target confirmation on Ana's nano because it's an extra button input. But right there, it would have saved you a whole lot of heartache.
Yeah, but I also think that, like, with the way they were playing on defense there, I mean, even if you got that, it just felt like Toronto just had like such a rhythm to their game that they were going to be able to kind of like battle through that. Like even that one stop, like sure, maybe, they finish with 2 minutes versus the 2:30, but Still, just a really impressive bounce back there from the Defiant.
These are the kind of games. These are the kind of games that are pretty difficult to read, just because we see a snowball basically from the first fight on both sides of the map here. We talked about how efficient the Justice were able to be with their ultimates on that attack.
And also because the first map is a blowout in one direction, the second map is a blowout in the opposite direction, and then now both teams don't want to play defense. So yeah, it's a little bit all over the place.
I tend not to prefer them just because it's a little bit hard to like give you more than the eye test sometimes on what's working. It's pretty self-evident, I think, if you can.
Right, it's got to be hard in these types of games to get some of your scripted lines in.
No, actually, usually I just wedge them in ham-fisted, and no one's really listening, so I kind of could just do what I want at this point, Matt. Or so I've found. So.
You should just pass them over to me, and when I say it, then their ears will perk up.
I'll tell you what, I'll send you a document, all right? See what you think.
Yeah, I'll definitely look at it.
I'll let you into the vault, yeah. Alpha Yi here, good pressure. Mirror though, that Bionade connecting, pretty scary. Open the shield's gone, Alpha Yi punches through with the laser. The Mirror did end up falling, being affected by that Bionade and committing further, but the Justice...
The spawn's so close though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the spawn's so close for Mirror to come back. Still, it's a nice kill on the opener, but you'd much rather have your tank in the mix. So it's really low.
Oh, Alpha! The guy, jeez, Echo plays
he wanted
one
that kill
thing
so bad.
It's epic disgusting. He just tried to dive Spectra. You notice that Ultraviolet was in a weird position because he had to either heal Spectra or try and damage Alpha Yi. He got caught in the Ana paradox there. But Alpha Yi really tried to force that.
I mean, we're already at a minute here. I think if you're the Justice, like, what's best case scenario, right? Like, if you take checkpoint A, I feel like you feel pretty decent about going into the defense, but that looks kind of unlikely at this point. I mean, you have this nano boost, right? You know, they've been holding them here at the choke. You gotta have Flora and Alpha Yi go crazy here.
Nano for the Echo, as per usual. Spectra gonna go first, though. Definitely want to try and extract some value. Instead, he'll just take some ult charge, back away. Now it's Alpha Yi's turn to come forward. Spectre trying to keep a respectful distance now. Ultraviolet's going to be under some pressure, but he's paying no heed to Alpha Yi. Oh, the sleep! That's bloody brilliant! Alpha Yi is down. Going to be a pulse bomb though from Flora. Wow, real work being done here by Flora. Again, boots on the ground. Honest day of Overwatch for Flora on that Tracer. And the Washington Justice should be able to brute force their way through this. Spectre's close to a duplicate though. That's a scary prospect. Hydron forced to recall away from the bio. Here comes the dupe. It's going to be another Tracer in play. Just as Hydron falls, another Tracer steps up to take his place. Kaluge throws a bubble down on the point there, hoping to give Spectre some cover to play from. He's very close to a pulse ball of his own. Whip shot back. Hopefully not with that one, but he skips and jumps away. Spectre's time is short in this dupe form and now has all his cooldowns to leverage. Trying to bring this support line down, but it's not to be. Mirror afflicted by a Bionade, those are scary prospect. Is Alpha Yi going to make another honor to the mix? Opener, keeps the shield up, pretty timely, but Spectre comes in. Laser extracts Mirror from the mix here, and Hydron's pulse is good. Spectre's bought lows, left for a time, but the bubble's a real problem for Alpha Yi to try and play around here. The focusing beam is too good. Teru falls now, it's Flora. Alpha Yi's down, it's just Flora, and it's not enough. The Justice ground to dust before that first checkpoint. That's a good result for the Defiant here in extra innings.
Dude, and something that could have turned the tides there was Alpha Yi gets the duplicate on the Ana, gets the benefit of the nano boot. Like, he gets a nano, but he doesn't actually get it off. He just can't find anybody. He's just like looking around everywhere, like looking up in the sky, looking to his left, his right, like trying to find Mirror, I think, and doesn't actually end up getting the nano off. As if you'd have been able to do that, could have been a little bit different.
That hurts for the Justice. A whole 2 minutes to play with there. That means potentially more than one ultimate cycle. Alpha Yi really doing his darndest there to try and find a way to break through. But Kaluge just randomly, incidentally, perhaps throwing those Winston bubbles down, actually stymies him as he has the damage to blow Spectre to smithereens. He misses that window, Spectre gets healed up, and then finds a key blow. And Flora just, I don't know, Flora cannot do more. I mean, yeah.
So see if like like three fights here potentially, right? If you're on the defensive side of things, so like definitely still not over, still potential for the Justice to get a hold.
Thank you, observers. Same comps here. Don't expect anybody to mix it up. Spectre out of the game straight away, so gets a bit of information about the high ground. Probably nothing surprising him at this stage. Recall there for Flora already used. Maybe Hydron looks to exploit that. Winston Bubble goes down, then Spectre can surge ahead once more. It's to the high ground that he wants to go here. The Justice being very passive, they get a lot of ground. And now there's a staging ground up high for the Defiant.
Yeah, the early pick here for either team is massive, right? For the Justice, you basically burn a ton of clock here if you're able to get somebody early on, as Kalush tries to go to the high ground, ends up dropping his bubble low. And if you're the Defiant, if you can get anybody, it forces them back to a point where, I mean, that is huge. Right? You get rid of Flora, look at this, everybody's starting to hightail it.
What a win for Hydron there. Struggling at times to make the impact. Really breaking things open now for the Defiant. You see Kalush here who says, right, bubble here on the statue. We're going to now populate this space just vacated by the Justice. And that car, you better believe, is schmovin' straight through the choke. Hydron wants to, again, control this peripheral flank angle. Wants to make so Flora can't, sneakily wrap his way around. McCart's made a ton of progress now. We're at a minute 20 on the clock here, so potentially 2 fights for the Defiant. So they're going to go slow for now. Pulse bomb for Flora, though, could throw things askew here. Can he connect it? Force the recall, an opportunity you might have had to throw it down, and he instead eats it into the shield. Not a great start. Hydron, though, from behind, looking for a connect. Doesn't get it either. That's quite the way with Pulse Bomb. Spectre trades out his life, but Alpha Yi and Flora are still at large. Yes, Terry might be down, but there's a lot of damage still available to the Justice. And now with the rally, they should have the durability to play that much more aggressive.
Oh, and I wonder if he needed the rally. You were up pretty handily in the fight. I mean,
Probably
obviously,
not.
Dung was the only support there towards the end, but it looked like you had won that fight pretty convincingly, and the Defiant were running away. So maybe that's a rally you actually could have held on to here. It's 30 seconds on the clock. What is this?
Alpha Yi
Going for like a flank.
He wants Spectra.
Bio something here?
100% probably trying to kill Spectra. There's actually some... I thought there was someone on the windowsill, but he now knows where the Brig with the Ana are. Who's the target? Maybe they've tracked openers ult, so want to force it early? Either way, best laid plans sometimes go to waste. Alpha Yi sneaking, now better find the target. Oh, Travana's in trouble, drops down, oh, the shield. All right, I'm clapping for that one, yeah, audibly. Perfect stuff there, great response with that rally from opener. No bio nade from Alpha Yi inside that dupe, and he's knocked out of it now. Now Alpha Yi has to jockey back a little bit as Hydron wants to push that right side of the statue. The left side, though, is Flora. He'll make his way to the back line now to harass down Ultravana. That's the bio nade from the sky, but Flora finds the Ana with the nade of his own. Huge work there with that pulse bomb. Kalush, though, finding 2. It's Alpha Yi out of the picture now. Flora having to try and keep this one going. His claws are dug in deep, and eventually he's torn from the card, and eventually the Defiant prevail.
Yeah, I think what the Justice were trying to do there, Mitch, is actually get that rally out a little bit early, which they did, but they're just not able to find anything after that, as Hydron had a tremendous map to put the Defiant up 2-1.
Oh, man. Yeah, pretty lively affair there on Dorado, as we sort of mentioned. Neither of these teams were comfortable defending for quite some time, but this is what the Defiant's defense looked like, completely forced right to the back of the map there. Flora, multiple moments. This was a turnaround map from Kalush. Absolutely. That's gross.
Yeah. The sick stuff.
He just wore the Justice like a sock.
And Mir did a nice job at the end, actually, using that Primal to just push the support so far out. But Opener and Ultraviolet did a nice job keeping each other up. And then it was Spectra with that duplicate, right? Hitting a few shots on a Teru and then finishing it off with that biotic grenade from up in the sky. And once you lost the Ana, it was all over.
That kill was where it opened up there. Hydron beating Flora in the 1-to-1. Esports coming up next, our 4th map in the series. It will be Push, and it will be an opportunity for the Defiant to put this to bed before the Justice get ahead of themselves. Stick around, everybody. Great start to our Sunday of matches. Last match day before the patch break, so don't miss it. Tracer duels, Echo dupes, gigantic brain rally plays. We've got everything here in this match between the Toronto Defiant and the Washington Justice. There's a moment there where it could have gone all wrong at the end of Dorado. Alpha Yi dupes Anana, goes to throw a Bionade, but Opener already pops Riley. Big old shield covering both himself and Ultraviolet. And Matt, Alpha Yi's knocked out of dupe with nothing to do. Let's have a look at our Tracer head-to-head as Hydron may have lagged behind in some metrics, but he found the kill to start it all.
I mean, dude, this series has been nuts. As both Tracers kind of going back and forth, right? Hydron has the advantage in terms of final blows, and then probably one of the most important stats is staying alive, right? Being around way more. But Flora, I mean, as you can see, I mean, the pulse bomb attaches, throughout really the entire series between Flora and even Alpha Yi, hell, the duplicates have been there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see a high amount of deaths. Flora really playing quite aggressively, very much in the thick of these kind of fights. You saw him there. Hydron, this is the kill. This is it. Oh, and then all of a sudden, the Toronto Defiant, they are on the road. They're on the move.
Dude, this feels like a little bit of a playoff type of match, like a little play-in teaser, a little playoff teaser, right?
Yep. I mean, it's another opportunity to put this middle of the pack under the microscope now, with teams basically having their destiny in their own hands and having to step up to take the opportunity to feature in those play-ins. I do want to say, I don't think Esperanza is a great Echo map, right? Surely we're back to Sombra.
No, I imagine we're back to Sombra. That's kind of what I imagine here. As we move into Esperanza now, if we get to game 5 Elios, I think you can see a comeback, right? I'd imagine some teams potentially decide to play Echo there, but on this run it feels like you're kind of in the Sombra mood.
Hydron Sombra, he's been on it, he's been off it at times. We've seen Hydron experiment fairly extensively with Hanzo. We've also seen a fair bit of Sojourn play from him, and I think at times, like the Sombra players come under scrutiny from a lot of pundits around the league, us included. It'll take a lot of work to stand up in this matchup, but we likely see Alpha Yi move to the Tracer, right?
Some Sombra stuff that has been not great the last few days.
Yes. Well, yes, that is true. Again, it's the kind of map
I was like angry yesterday, where it takes a lot for me to get angry, I was like, man.
Do you want to be more specific, or just leave it out there?
No, I'm just gonna throw that one out there. Just let it sit, let it marinate.
I think those that tuned in with us yesterday probably know what you're referring to, so that's fine. We don't need to name names here. That's for sure.
It's like one of those where you just sit at your PC and you just stare at your monitor. You're not really thinking anything. You're just kind of like there.
Yeah, the 1,000-yard stare, seeing some of that action yesterday.
Yeah.
Right, so this puts Spectra and Alpha Yi on the Tracer role once more.
Yeah, so this is obviously we've seen Hydron and Flora play a ton of Tracer. We just looked at the stats card, but now they're going to switch over and play the Sombra here. Open it up for Alpha Yi and Spectra to pick up. So, look at this. I mean, the Justice kind of just playing this high ground, like maybe kind of just waiting for the dive to come in. It looks like they don't really want to be the aggressor at the moment.
A little speculative Bionade there on Kalush. Doesn't really have a huge impact there, as Ultraviolet just keeps him topped anyway. They were forced over to the side here, so Kalush returned to the rest of his team. Bot making very small amount of progress for Toronto early. Bionade on Ultraviolet now. Oh, opener low. Okay, this is a little scary for the Defiant. That's a decent amount of pressure.
They don't capitalize on it though. Like they're not. There's nobody like coming in here for the Justice, right? As Terry able to kind of keep himself up with a chaotic grenade there. As Amir gets quite low. Now they find the opening in the support line.
Alpha Yi for 2. Somehow, Brigger involved in the kill there on opener. All right, eventually the floodgates open and Toronto Defiant are the ones going down to Gurgler.
And as Alpha Yi's Tracer's clean. We've seen it a few times now when he duplicates on the Echo and then takes control of the Tracer. But now getting to see him just play it full time here is Justice will get the bot around the corner. We'll see where the Defiant decide to play from. Is Alpha Yi being a bit sneaky here, maybe trying to land a big pulse bomb.
Okay, Spectre hacked. Yep, that's an easy kill.
Get the hack.
Nice.
That's nice.
Flora, I mean, from the low ground, I think it was. The fact you get a complete hack, and maybe because Spectre uses 2 out of 3 of his blinks and doesn't want to hack to try and blink to shake off the hack rather, then he'd be a sitting duck even if he did have his abilities available. Unclear. Either way, Alpha Yi just drops that pulse bomb in front to be observed by Ultraviolet. We'll be able to send a nano boost towards Kaluj. Doesn't do too much more than scare the Justice away for now, but eventually they'll be back. It was a feint all along, a big old ruse as Flores deploys that EMP, and the Justice once again come bounding forward.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is actually really good for the Justice, right? The nano comes out. Here's the primal rage from Mirrors. You're trying to get this kill into Kaluj. The bot's pretty much gonna get that first checkpoint. And when that play from the high ground comes, right? Kaluj gets the nano. He just kind of gets stuck in the middle and then tries to make a dive towards the backline again. And Donghoon doesn't even feel that he needs to use rally. Just lands a nice whip shot and just sends Kaluj to the low ground. Now you hold on to these support ults.
Hydron, I think he heard the steel-clad boots of Donghoon bouncing around there, so he doesn't actually push up. He might have spotted the translocator had he done so. Okay, revealed by Brig and just gets on out there. Fair enough. Keep that mega hacked here.
Almost like they're trying to bait them to EMP Mirror here on the low ground or something like that, right?
Oh!
That's a actually
was that necessary? Oh, okay, EMP committed here as well. Hydron was hit with a bio nade. This is sloppy jalopy from the Toronto Defiant. Spectre though able to right the wrong somewhat with that pulse bomb connection. Alpha Yi, I like that, tries to circle back around Ultraviolet, but it's another missed pulse bomb from him. Kaluj now will be able to bring his team back into it. I hated that problem.
Just really weird there.
I think they just wanted to go aggressive right with the EMP at that time. That's probably why.
Yeah, but the EMP didn't really do much, and then you keep Mirror alive with the nano. Now we're kind of back towards mid-map. What is the play here? Are you just trying to farm this nano again and then send Kaluj to the high ground? If you're the Defiant, is the play here for the Justice to just kind of sit and farm EMP? The biotic grenade at the high ground that misses.
Kaluj nano, but bio and slept. Still though, Teru was clinging to life as Kaluj fell asleep, and it was very easy for Spectre to step up and take the Winston's place. So high ground secured here for the Defiant. They've spent everything though, just to get the cart in this position. Cart, bot, whatever. Spectre no chance for the pulse use there, and Alpha Yi eventually gets dragged down.
Yeah, so you're going to get close to the first checkpoint here, I think, if you're the Defiant. But you're going to come back with the Justice. You're going to have this EMP to fight right inside of this choke. And so that's going to be Flora going for it. Oh, and they're going to be able to take out Opener.
I like that Flora stays out of range there of Opener's mace. I just think that the Toronto Defiant's ult economy has been really shaky by comparison to the Justice here. Washington spent an EMP, find a kill, Mirror now as well. Will actually use his primal not only to find kills, potentially with stagger, which is huge when the bot's moving as fast as it is back into position.
Yeah, nice primal there from Mirror, right?
Yeah.
Now the Justice, you'll get the bot just deeper into the Defiant territory, and you think they can actually make a run here and potentially even complete it, right?
Oh, Hydron.
No EMP, no Sombra at all now. And then you're so far away from support ultimates here. If you're the Defiant, you're gonna have double support ult coming in here for the Justice. I mean, you're set up to continue to push this bot forward. But they back up.
Yeah, they don't need to push right. I mean, we see a lot of teams doing this now. They have this position, they have the first checkpoint. There's no reason.
Keep fighting.
They don't need to push on push.
Yep, I mean, ironic as it is, we've actually seen this occur in multiple eras of Overwatch where you get to the point where you're unfavored actually trying to extend your lead. A bit ironic, a bit of a paradox at times, but it happens in Overwatch a fair bit. So this is one of those situations where you want the team that's behind to make a mistake, then you can extend your lead.
So Kaluj knocks some of these players down. Are we going to see an EMP?
Okay, just as Kaluj comes in with the
but it doesn't
primal,
connect with Teru.
well, it's not as consistent as just coming without primal, to be fair. If you jump up without primal and you have the Tesla cannon, I feel like it's much more easy to secure kills because in primal you're damaging players, but also moving them away. Kind of hard to follow up on that.
Well, I think the primal there from Kalush is just to knock some of the players to the low ground to make the EMP a little bit easier, but you don't connect with the Ana, so it was Teru who was able to actually get the nano boost off and get a biotic grenade in the mix. So you weren't able to really kind of get as much as you probably would have hoped there.
I mean, this is more force than a smile at your in-laws dining table. I like that rally from open to there in like a short-handed fight. Where's that supposed to go? I mean, he like brute forces a kill with the shield bash, but I mean, we're just in full chaos now from the Defiant.
Yeah, it's like still the Justice playing a little bit passive, right? Just allowing the Defiant to push up, take some of this space. You thought if the Justice really wanted to, they could have chased some of those kills, kind of put away that fight.
Trying to just use what they had to try and, I guess, make up some ground. Pretty unconvincing total, though, in terms of distance pushed. And the Justice have had time to, you know, use this interlude to build up ults themselves.
And I mean, if you're the Justice, I guess I understand the logic here in that, like, they have to push the bot so far that just, like, force them to make the play, and then, let's say they end up losing the fight, right? You just push it so far back into their territory, it becomes almost impossible for the Defiant, right? They need to rattle off 2-3 fight wins in a row, so just kind of sit here, contest, burn clock, and then just build up ultimates, right?
Mirror's sitting in a position on the corner there to contest the bot. I mean, you have to get him out of that position somehow, and the Defiant don't really have the tools.
It's like the same on Coliseum, right? Where you can kind of contest from like up top on the bridge. Like there's not really a huge necessary to push on in. But now you get the benefits of the Nano. I mean, look at this. If you're the Defiant, like how bad does this feel, right? Like you kind of sat in neutral trying to build some ultimates, right? You're at a point where maybe you get it past through this choke. You end up losing that fight to just a Nano, and now the bot just goes so far into your territory, like you got to win 2 more fights to even get it back. So then you end up having to force to use some of these ultimates, right, that you've kind of just spent building up at that choke to try and get through it, just to get back to that point, right? To just get stalled out, it feels terrible.
Missed the game plan. Flores found a translocator. Okay. Hydron spotted apparently, or not. He slips away.
Always plan an exit.
Hydron deploys another translocator on that corner there. Looking for a EMP into the back line. Keep your eyes out for Kaluj to turn up magically here. Okay, EMP early. Oh my goodness. See, the Justice are acting before the Toronto Defiant can actually get people in position to execute their gameplay. They're just more decisive here.
Yeah, and I mean, the bot's going further and further into Defiant territory as they're great for Defiant. You built up some of these ultimates, but it seems like they're really struggling to try and land like those EMPs by the top bridge. Like you mentioned, like it's like pretty difficult. They've had Kaluj set some up with some primals,
it's
but
hard.
You've not been able to get like the supports either time, right? Where you know either rally or the Nano gets off.
Toronto may as well start using some of these ultimates.
And the rally from the Defiant.
Yeah, I mean they've been holding on to fire for so long. Throw the EMP in there, why not? And you spend all of this to get back to that position you were, where Mirror just contests under the bridge.
Yeah, so, I mean, and you can't just kind of sit here and just wait to build up some of these ultimates. You also have the bot stoppage that's going to happen if you're the Defiant at that checkpoint, so let's see how they can kind of push through this area.
Map 5 looking awful likely right now. The bot might be moving back into the Justice's side of the map, but they've definitely maintained control of this game. Mirror there with the primal.
Yeah, but he was bio. They needed to finish that kill off.
Yeah, that's going to hurt them. And Kaluj also not able to harass high ground because Mirror goes and kills for his team in primal. Okay, that's nasty. Donkman's going to be hit with a Bionate here and likely will fall. Kaluj with the primal raid again, and forcing it. Forcing it. Going to find 2 kills plus the assist from Spectra there. This will get potentially a checkpoint for the Defiant, a chance to play for victory. Just a slim one.
All right, so now this gets a little bit interesting, right? Like, you're going to have the Nano boost here for the Justice, and then we're about, really kind of about even in terms of EMP charge.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be also an area of the map that's way better to actually get a value EMP, right? Everybody kind of has to play a little bit more in the open here, so you're the Defiant, like keep like a player on the bot, obviously, but then also try and allow Hydron to kind of work his way towards the back to get this EMP.
So much hinges on that. To win every fight from here on out. Oh, okay, Hack and Bio. Mirror doesn't benefit really from half of the Nano boost. Going to dive in anyway. EMP avoided though by Mirror so far. And 3 players connected with Flora, bringing it down. Yeah, the Defiant, being sent back to Amish times now. Spectra is gone. No chance here. We have ourselves a map 5 in this series. The Defiant, they wane just when they were looking to try and end the game. We're going all the way, Matthew. I'm here for it.
I mean, they just fall behind so much early on, does the Defiant, that there's really no way they can bounce back. It puts them in such a difficult position to do so, right? When the other team has like 80, 90 meters and you're basically sitting mid-mat. How do you get the bot all the way the distance, right?
It all kind of starts here. I mean, this is like Alpha you finding like an early kill into a backline, and all of a sudden the Defiant's ultimates are just all over the place. They're behind an older economy because they kind of lose their first fight, which is fine. But yeah, they have to spend so much just to get back to roughly even. We know how important the first checkpoint on push maps is. I think this is a great example of why it's so strong, because once the Justice had the lead, they were not inclined to push any further. They just slowed the game down, started playing safe and allowed the Defiant to make their own mistakes. So, Ilios, the next map. Remember, control was very much one-sided in favor of the Defiant. They're gonna hope it's gonna be the same case on Ilios after the break. Well, quite a few of our experts predicted a close series, and that's what it has been, at least in terms of map score. But within the maps themselves, we've actually had a lot of one-sided affairs, either favoring the Washington Justice or the Toronto Defiant. It's been back and forth, but again, we've seen teams rise to power within the space of a map and all of a sudden go silent, disappear entirely. And that's what happened to the Toronto Defiant on Esperanza, a very lackluster showing from a team chasing glory, a chance to play in front of a home crowd in our playoffs.
Yeah, and it's this map is obviously extremely important for both teams in terms of like play in, play off.
Music.
qualification, right. Hence the important music. Map one is a blowout in favor of the Defiant, but it also feels like even with the Dorado win, the series has been kind of like going way more in favor of the Justice. I'm just ignoring you at this point. Where I think the Justice probably have a little bit of an edge here going into the 5th map.
Absolutely. The way that they played the Sombra Tracer comp really stood out to me, right? We've seen a lot of Tracer Echo over the course of this series, right? I mean, Spectre gets to show off his Echo. Hydron looked excellent on the Tracer. Flora also looked quite good on the Tracer, but those were maps where the Defiant had a distinct opportunity and advantage to sort of press and create a lead. Here, though, with the Sombra comps, I don't know. AlphaGee's been copying Tracers this whole series. We know that's his wheelhouse. He gets to switch back to a power pick, and as good as Spectre and Hydron have been over this series, the Sombra Tracer die from this team, the all economy, the way they sequence their fights, not good enough to hang with the Justice.
Yeah, and I think the Justice have played really well. I mean, outside of just doing absolutely nothing on defense on Dorado, they've really looked strong the last 3 maps. So I would give a slight edge to the Justice going into Ilios, but you never know, right?
Again, this is the kind of map where you have some stages where Echo might make some sense, right? Lighthouse, I think, represents a pretty good opportunity to play that. Look, I'm not too sure personally about, well, it might even come down to preference from these teams, how far they sort of want to push that. But if you're Toronto, I don't think you want to opt into a Tracer Sombra Mirror. I think you were soundly beaten on Esperanza. You know, despite what people might say about how important the first checkpoint is and losing the first fight, I get it, I really do. But the Defiant looked all over the place when they had to really sequence their ultimates properly to win these fights. With this composition, with the Echo comp, I'm not sure. I mean, it hasn't been that complicated. The Defiant just nano Spectra. Spectra goes in, does some stuff, dupes an Ana, tries to get a Bionade. Maybe the flowchart is a bit more straightforward for them here. No surprise, Matt. Echoes for both sides for this first round.
And I think another thing I'm looking at here is like Mirror being able to stay alive, right? I think the desk hit on it a little bit earlier, like they kind of favored Kaluj in that Winston battle. I think Mirror's been good today, but especially here, you know, have to play pretty much perfect in Game 5.
What comes down to this one, it's going to be Flora finding himself on the wrong end of the mace to start the fight.
Not ideal. not an ideal start to the fight.
Could have been better, yes.
Yeah.
Right. The Defiant have a chance here to get a first cap. I think the Justice would like to avert that potentiality. What's Spectre looking for Alpha for now? Doesn't want to get dove on randomly, but Alpha is keeping a respectful distance from most of the engagement. A lot of cat and mouse between these Echo players we're going to see as the round plays out.
Yeah, and we'll see how the Justice go about trying to break this, right? As this point, they're just kind of can go on forever in terms of stall as Luge gets quite low, backs up. Bio Grenade actually hits Mirror and Donghu, but I don't think there's any follow-up.
Fair enough, though. It's going to be Alpha taken down by Spectre. Yeah, the Bionade looked like an afterthought from Ultraviolet. It's like, well, I've got it, so I may as well just throw it down. Unclear what effect that really had in terms of the ripple, but Spectre winning a 1v1 against Alpha is always going to put you in a good position. Toronto, get a foothold there, a third of the way there.
Yeah, I mean, the Justice, you haven't really had a great opportunity, right? You lose your Echo, you lose your Tracer right at the start. Not even an opportunity to really kind of set anything up.
Here comes Dive! Oh, Alpha chasing Kalush down, but he has the Primal Rage, even with the Bionade, thinking he's able to stay around. Flora, though, the Pulse Bomb, ever the reliable one. With Ultraviolet down, that Primal Rage is looking awful sad. Kalush, tail between the legs, back to spawn in a moment.
And that is a really interesting way they decided to play that, right? As Kalush goes in with the nano boost, Terror actually decides to nano Alpha E, who's coming from like the backside,
like right
like right behind him, and then just drops the Biotic Grenade at his feet, right, to keep him and Donghu alive, and then also hope Alpha E just kind of burns him down. So they end up kind of getting control back off of that. I mean, that is huge.
It's a huge fight win for the Justice. They still have their Primal Rage and Rally coming up here. Spectre, good sticky connection. Oh, just a little too far away to finish the job. Opener. Slipped on a banana peel.
That's one way to end the fight.
Okay.
That actually, you know, Spectre was putting down some good damage on Alfie. Like, potentially could have, like, went in there and made a play. As now this is going to allow the Justice to get a lot more time. I mean, you may look at a tie game here in a bit.
I think back to how emotional opener has been after some of these games with the Defiant. Really hard in the game, very invested. Will it be enough here? That was a tough way to lose that last fight, but better start here for the Defiant. Spectra, sticky bombs, gonna dance around those, knocked out a dupe. Sleep dart here, but Alpha Yi hasn't quite found the big kill. It's obviously not Alpha Yi on camera. We open it. It's Alpha Yi looking for ultraviolet though. Self-bio. Alpha Yi getting low. Can't pressure this too much. He has to dupe to stay alive. Bionate thrown to the ground here. The Justice so low on health, and Alpha Yi is ruined.
Oh, I mean, the Spectra duplicate was sick on the other side, though. It's actually when Donghun uses Rally, he duplicates the Ana and hits him with a bio grenade, and then, although he gets slept, still, the damage is done as we do get a point flip, so the Defiant off the back of that get control.
Discipline from Hydron there. That was a kill, begging to be taken. But the Defiant were already in an aggressive position, so he recalls out, tries to set up, and actually, it comes back to bite him. Flora returns to the fray with a vengeance, and Hydron is plucked out.
And it seems like when the Defiant go aggressive, that's when they end up kind of failing the most, right? You think back to like when they Nanoed Kalush, sent him up top, that's when they end up losing that fight. And this time they try and go aggressive and lose a player early on, and they may not end up losing the fight though.
Kalush has Primal, he can play pretty close to his margins here, and so he does. Looks to go aggressive just a little bit, just the disruption here. Not looking to chase a kill because he knows he'll have to respond to whatever Mirror tries to do to his backline. So here we go, back into the fight. Being chased for a moment by Alpha Yi, and Spectra springs into action instantly to stave off the would-be interloping Echo. That is a scary situation for Mirror there. He's very low. Teru falls. Where's the big heals coming from? Can't do anything against a focusing beam now. And the Defiant are back in this well and truly. Rallying for Donghun. That shield though, going to be taxed sorely. Spectra duping a Brig. Fair enough. Looking to end the round here and now, and it's just Flora who can touch. He can't get there. Hoping is bouncing in his seat after a bit of a blooper moment, falling off the map. He's redeemed, and the Defiant get the map win.
Yeah, we got to get a clip of what happened there with opener, but fantastic start there for the Defiant. There towards the end, they actually lose a player early on, but Kalush and really Spectra do a fantastic job just keeping that fight rolling. All right, let's see this.
Oof, there's.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah, you tell me. Go on.
Sometimes it looks good. Maybe he thought like, yeah, I got a little angle here, I can dash across, and yeah, I got about like 3 feet, and maybe it's like 4 or 5 feet. You fall a little short, right? It happens.
I don't know.
I've seen you do stuff like that.
It's true. I'm not. There's a reason why I cast. That might be part of it.
On the Ashe here.
Okay, very exploitable, very diveable here. You're taking a risk, but you have a map, you have a round rather in your pocket already. And we know what this Echo can do, rather the Ashe, when she's left unattended. This is a good angle for Hydron and a lot of heal pressure. Combine that with then the ticking damage of the Dynamite. It's quite stressful for Teru and Donghun to rectify this.
Yeah, and you're also just putting a ton of pressure on Mirror, right, who ends up falling here right away, but forcing him to kind of like play that Winston at like a very top tier level, right? Like we know he can do it, but they're just forcing him to kind of like play perfect here, right? Constantly taking damage from those dynamites and like looking for heal packs and to Teru from like range, right? It just makes it very difficult for him to dive on in.
Well, it's also
always just slowing him down.
It's really hard for Flora and Alpha Yi to get up here. Flora can do it, but has to use a translocator. Or Alpha Yi, I guess, can sort of approach as he dashes from tree, rooftop to rooftop. But look at that, Hydron. That's perfect. He's coming alive. Couldn't ask for a better time for it either. This is dangerous for the Justice. Inside the kill room, Hydron, lucky for them, he didn't have a dynamite up at the time, but Spectra punishes with a pulse bomb. And this is getting out of hand.
I mean, Hydron just running him down on the Ashe there. Now we got Flora here on the Widowmaker trying to answer that. So trying to like outrange the Ashe here, come up some headshots. We'll see how this changes the way the Defiant play around this.
Flora might have needed a kill 10 seconds ago, Matt. So far, just body shots, some pressure. This will change the way the Hydron has to play. Hydron is actually trading blows with the Widow at length. Hydron can control the mega health pack location, so yes, we'll have to switch into a more passive gear.
If you're the Ashe, like who even cares about this Widowmaker, right? Like just kind of sit to the side and just keep getting this dynamite damage, right? Like it doesn't even matter. Like who cares if Flora's all the way out in the middle of nowhere? Like
Donghun Nano? I He has to rally here at the very least. Teru kept alive there for a time, but Kalush gets what he wanted eventually. Can he dive away? Oh, that is devastating!
Yeah, just don't give... I mean, I love the way that Hydron's playing this. Just don't give Florin an angle, right? And just hold serve over the point and just use the dynamite to just put down some damage. I mean, the Widow's been a non-factor thus far. I mean, look at this. Yeah, this is fantastic play here from Hydron.
Kalush is drawing fire. Hydron playing from a safe angle at all times. Now just rotates here. He can't be seen by the Widow. Here comes the bomb. Straight to the point, will set up now. It's going to pressure that Winston shield down. Teru goes for the sleep on it, but Opener has a rally in play now. Hydron again still has to be aware of the Widow to some degree, but that Infrasight's never going to really have an impact at this rate. Mira knows he's done. Shield bash, eventually Ultraviolet falls down here, but you've got your Brig operating at full efficiency now. Flora's Infrasight does come into play. Alpha finding Opener, and there it is. It's an easy kill on Hydron. A chance to bring the Justice back into the game, but Spectra might have other ideas. Already 2 kills, no backline left, and all for the Justice, and eventually Flora goes down. Spectra versus Alpha now, the 1 versus 1, and the Justice are allowed to stay alive in the series.
Yeah, so they end up flipping the point. I was going to say, Flora needs to get off this Widowmaker. It goes over to the Sombra. So now we're back at no, Hydron actually is going to go back. So he actually went over to the Sombra, thought he was going to play it. He's actually now back on the Ashe. So sees that Flora is playing the Sombra, wants to go back to what we started off at.
It's a long climb from here for the Washington Justice. They're going to have to be absolutely spot on from here on out. Primal Rage from Mira. Doesn't want to overextend. That could be the series if he does. Nano from Mira now.
Oh yeah, they nano him. They go right over the top. But who's the target here?
Trying to dive Hydron, Matt. They're going from Hydron rotated to the low room for whatever reason now. Kalush has slept during his nano. An opportunity here, though, still opened up by Spectra as Teru is felled. Great pulse bomb connection. Dongwon has no teammate to help him right now. How does he stay alive here? Kalush still has the primal rage up his sleeve, but Alpha intervenes and Ultraviolet is taken down. Now Spectra wants to deal with Flora, but Alpha is there. The Justice are going to be very hard to shift in this fight. It'll have to be a reset for Toronto again.
Somehow the Justice hold on, man, as this one's going to go down the wire, because you're going to have an EMP coming up here, and you're going to have your rally. I don't know if you saw, like, it looked like Kalush actually got the benefits of the nano while he was slept. Like, they just kind of gave it to him across the map. So hopefully when he got up, he can make a play for the supports. Flora's got to hit a big EMP here.
This is how Sombra does it. It's the only way he can get close to Hydron. They get it, though. EMP pays off after Flora switches off the Widow. And Hydron is the first casualty of that fight. Flora eventually sees Retribution beelining towards him and opts to get out instead. Another reset for Toronto.
I mean, now you're getting, like, no value out of this Ashe, right? Like, when you had control of the point and able to kind of, like, play at that high ground and just shoot over it, great. But, you know, now pushing into the point, I mean, really, it's not really contributed a lot. Spectra has to go crazy with the pulse bomb.
Yeah, he knew that Alfie was chasing after him. He could see the damage coming up on his screen. Hacked now for a moment. Flora's causing him so many problems, and Alfie finds the pulse bomb, the one to keep the Justice in this. The rally is good from Donghoon, and the Washington Justice have been able to fight back from the very blink. Toronto looked like they had it in the bag, but the Justice show us the tenacity to stay alive in the series. Now it's Kalush hacked inside this primal rage form, soon to fall. Ultraviolet was hoping, I guess, to swift step to him to keep him alive. Spectra there, able to recall away from the hack. It's going to be Opener coming back on an all-familiar hero, the Lucio. Not nearly enough, not even close. We're going all the way.
How in the world did they win that?
They switched off Widow.
The Widow was like, I mean, Flora didn't really kind of do anything with it until, like, it was overtime, basically. And then after that, I mean, just clutched up. I don't know if I love the... I think the Ashe was awesome when they had control of the point, right? And you're able to just constantly just pester Mirror as he's trying to cross that huge gap. But once they had control of the point, I mean, you were getting nothing with it. So now we go down to the wire. This is interesting because Lighthouse is like really like close quarters. Like there's a lot of like close areas. So you can play the Echo here, but I feel like the Echo is also really susceptible to the Sombra Tracer. So I'm interested what the Justice look like they're going to play Sombra Tracer. Yeah, so this will be really interesting.
Finally, these teams with different looks, different comps coming into this round. The Defiant going to be pinning their hopes on the Spectra Echo. So play very carefully. And again, yeah, get too close to the ground and Flora and Alpha will gobble you up. It's the big risk here for Spectra. Gonna hope for a lot of nanos, I think, for the Echo in this round.
I mean, think about how we talk how important this is for the Defiant in terms of, like, you know, play-in, play-offs. Like, I mean, you were so close in the last round. I mean, probably did not expect we were going to see this map.
Trying to look for an early cap there. The Justice wise up to it pretty quickly, though. Spectre knows that Mirror's half health right now. Winston Bubble, it's a problem. He tries to penetrate it there, but Mirror's already out the other side. Mirror low, very low. Teru going to be working overtime to try and keep him up, and he can't. It's not a good start. The Defiant are actually able to cap midway through that fight. Now Teru will be staggered out by a sleep dart from Ultraviolet.
Yes, I think, you know, everybody now just going to try and back out, end or die here for the Justice. Oh, nice play there from Hydron. You do end up building up towards an EMP here. So you do get a first fight EMP. Man, you just gotta, somehow you gotta be able to keep Mirror topped up a little bit more. Maybe it's a bit of like where he needs to be playing, but still, he takes so much damage when he gets to the point, then just gets burnt down by Spectra.
We're gonna see the impact of the EMP now in this asymmetrical team comp matchup. Manual hack attempt to force the recall from Hydron. That's just what Flora wanted, because once the EMP comes in, there's no escape. Hydron is down by Flora. And the pulse bomb from Alpha Yi chimes on in there. Probably a discordant mess as far as the Defiant are concerned. They will be shoved off the point.
Yeah, and that is the nano boost used as well there for the Defiant. So they end up using that on a Kaluge. He's not able to, you know, build up the primal with it, so you lose that kind of big ultimate to keep the sustain on the point. And now the Defiant have to kind of walk into this. This allows Alpha Yi, yeah, look at Alpha Yi and Flora just kind of, you know, run around the backside of the point here, just trying to cause some chaos. And that's Mirror getting the nano going over the top. They gave the point up.
Yeah, I don't know how that flipped. I'm not sure what happened there for the Washington Justice, and now Teru is down as well. This is disastrous for Washington. Mirror had a plan, surely, with that nano, but he's trying to fight an Echo at the time, and they lose the point. That could be game losing.
Did they not have anybody like near the? I mean, maybe it was the supports near the point. Like Teru, I think dies to like a pulse bomb, but still,
no,
I mean, that
the
is
kill
brutal.
comes after the flip.
Because you use the nano, you go to the high ground, right? You have both flankers there, and it looks like Hydron just rotates to the point and just takes it.
5 and 8, the Toronto Defiant looking to get back well and truly into the middle of the pack. They're fighting for a chance to compete for glory in our postseason. Here comes the rally from Donghun. He's going to go to the point. Quick shield bash in Kaluge's direction. He's low and bioed and taken down. Alpha Yi is able to pursue him to the end. The Defiant now will stall and get whatever percentage they can. But the Justice will be back in the hot seat and they cannot give control of the point.
But think about just that flip, right? Like, you know, they should have another like 15% here, possibly, right? If that, like, the Defiant put themselves in a great spot to win this map off of that sneaky little cap.
42 and counting for Washington. An EMP on the horizon. Spectre may be thinking about duplication here, keeping tabs on Flora as he plays around that neutral zone, pulse zone. Another one from Alpha Yi. What opener of all players. The Defiant might try and force this here with just the nano. It looks like that's the plan. They're going to come forward at least. Spectre hacks, but he with the nano. It's Spectre for 2. They can't stop him. Flora going to fall as well. And Kaluge gets involved. And the Defiant, in a short-handed fight, explode into the lead. And Spectre's mouthing off. He's earned the right. The Toronto Defiant fight back and end the series here. It's a 3-2 Toronto Defiant win. A massive mistake from the Justice to give up the point for free. That's going to hurt in the morning.
And they also don't get any use of that EMP there at the end. You know, you have the EMP, the nano goes on to Spectra, he takes out 2 right away, and I think they wanted to wait for like maybe the perfect time to use it, but just did not get a use of it at all as the Defiant, they bounce back and they take I mean, this is a huge game in terms of their season. They get a big win here in Game 5.
That's wild. I mean, they lose Donghun there to a pulse bomb from Alpha Yi at like the end of that round. They say, okay, we're just going to nano Spectra. Spectra just kills 2 players all of a sudden.
They lose opener, they lose opener to Alpha Yi, right?
That's right, yeah.
And it's wild. I mean, the way that kind of worked is, yeah, you lose your Brig. Nano goes on to the Echo. The Echo kills 3 before the Summer even has an opportunity to do anything with EMP. big bounce back from the Defiant. I mean, that was getting real scary there towards the end, especially how they lost that second, how they lost Ruins.
As much as this gives you confidence maybe in the Defiant going forward, it raises a lot of questions about their ability to pilot this Tracer's Sombra composition to success. And this isn't new. This is the same question we've had about this team through much of this season, as we've seen Hydron opt for sort of alternate picks, the Ashe, the Sojourn, the Hanzo at times, right?
Yeah, you say that, right? You're a little bit worried about that, but when we go on a break, there's a patch, like who the hell knows what we come back to, right? I mean, you just needed to be good on it up until this point. Like, let's see what kind of happens after that, right? So if you're the Defiant, if this is not your best look, you feel like you still are in a pretty good spot, right? Because you're still, having a pretty good record, keeping it with that middle of the pack.
Getting to 6 wins here is a big deal for this Toronto Defiant team. Let's talk player of the match on the Defiant squad. I know who it's going to be, Kaluj. What a showing for him over the course of this series. Again, someone who has really been, going to work on his Winston play in general. And it's what allows the Defiant, especially this first map. Thanks, Hugo. I concur.
Hugo's going crazy for Kaluj.
Yeah.
I mean, he's excited.
Love a bit of Kaluj. But again, I think, this moment here where, you think he's done, he's, slept, all of a sudden turns up for 2 kills and paves the way for the Defiant. What a wild Dorado map that was. That was just silly. No defense to speak of at all. And then Ilios, man, he really had to show us some flair to get his team over the line.
Yeah, I mean, just his Winston play over the course of the whole series, right? Made big impact plays with Primal Rages. And then also, I think one of the big key things we saw in terms of, the difference between the two is, Kaluj was able to go into the backline, put some pressure on, and then also kind of come out, stay alive, right? Where sometimes we saw that they were able to punish Mirror a little bit easier on the Defiant side. So I thought Kaluj had a really nice game.
Yeah, one thing that really stands out to me, right, is on Ilios well, where we see Kaluj diving against Nano, and who would chase him down but Alpha Yi. He's drawing even Alpha Yi out of position where, he would rather be going aggressive and trying to burst down a support. Instead, he's chasing Kaluj. We've got to peel for this guy.
Yeah.
We've got to get this guy off our backline. Now, if you're generating that much threat, you're definitely doing your job. So, great job for the Toronto Defiant. The road ahead, though, definitely, treacherous. They need to really stack these wins together. There's a lot of refinement, I think, and we're going to hear a little bit more about that, I think, from our desk here, because it was a 3-2, but quite contentious. So stick around for that. Our experts are going to break down the match that was and look ahead to our last of the day. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, one and all. Here's the desk to break it all down. Danny, Jake, and Johnny. What a close match this was. Exactly what I wanted to see from those two teams. And this was definitely a very important victory for the Toronto Defiant, because if they would have lost it, then that would have meant that the maximum wins they could have gotten with the matches remaining would have been 7, which would have put them on even footing with the Gladiators. And that's definitely not a spot you want to be in. Even though map differential, they probably would have still managed to edge it out. However, this is putting them in a lot better position. So let's talk about this match and why it was so close.
Wow, just an absolute back and forth between two good dive teams here. I did not expect Washington Justice to bring it that close with the echo compositions primarily. I mean, Eichenwalde was just a wild ride, and Alpha Yi really turned up for this one. So truly just a back and forth between two teams that are really evenly matched. And I think they just gave us a fantastic match here.
I feel like Toronto, one thing I've criticized them for this season is some of those composition decisions. But actually, I really liked everything they brought out today. Can't disagree with anything. I feel that Justice on that final map, Ilios, the decider round on Lighthouse, bringing out Sombra Tracer, I think that's just a mistake. It's a map with a very long runaround. For Sombra to get to that Ana Brig on the high ground, I mean, that's like 10 seconds of just running. And it's unrealistic to get to the opponent's side of the map, back up to the high ground, dive the backline. It's really hard to play Sombra in that situation. I think the Echo's a much better pick. Even Atlanta Reign plays Echo there, like almost 24/7 every time we see that map. And so it's a weird error from Justice. Like, I think, honestly, that very well could have cost them the series. We don't know how it would have gone in an Echo mirror. But I feel like that's one that you got to kick yourself for on the Justice. Like, that's a mistake in my eyes.
Yeah, but overall, it was still a very close and even match. A great performance from the Justice. So people should remain excited for their upcoming matches. But now it is time to talk to the winners. And we got a really, really special one for you because the opener is going to do the interview all in English with us here on the desk. So opener, congratulations and thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of course. Well, let me kick things off with asking about the preparation. Yesterday, the Washington Justice had a really, really good game. They got the victory. Did you change your preparations based on what you've seen from the Justice yesterday?
Like, Justice doing like Echo Tracer more better because Alpine was a good Echo. So we have a Spectra also. So if we do Echo Mirror, maybe Spectra doesn't lose by him, so we just made the comp to Echo Tracer comp more.
Nice.
Well, opener, I wanted to ask about the team's confidence going into playoffs. Do you guys believe you can make playoffs? How are the teams playing together? How's the feeling on the team?
Like me and Spectra come later, and the first time our team was like style was a little bit different, but like until now we did talk each other about and comes better team, so we actually can make the playoffs, I think.
I mean, I'm gonna follow up on that. Talking about playoffs, what meta shift do you hope to see in the postseason? Do you feel like there's going to be a meta shift?
I don't know what the patch is, but I want many heroes to make comps because this time we only have Brick, Ana, and Monkey right now. So I want just flexible supports and flexible tags in the game maybe.
All right, opener. I gotta know the lore. I asked Donghyun yesterday because he did a fantastic interview in English. Where did you pick up the English that you're speaking so well? Was it Australian Contenders, your time on the Washington Justice, or any time before that? How come you're so good at speaking English?
Yeah, Australia Contenders I was in only 1 month, 2 months, but speaking with English with my teammates helped a lot in Australia Contenders.
Right on.
You learned all this in 1 month. 1 month.
Yeah, kind of.
It's a little different. That's talent.
Built different. It's built different.
You come here.
That's awesome. Well, opener, thank you so much for taking the time and best of luck in your upcoming match.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Opener.
Goodbye, opener from the Toronto Defiant. That truly is built different. It's like, I casually just learned English within a few months because why not? It certainly does help with team communication, so it's fantastic.
It's fantastic for them, but for me, I'm a little sad. I feel like my place in the league is
job security.
diminishing.
Job security.
Day by day.
Studying English. Stop it, guys. It's not cool.
Oh, man. Well, all right, guys. That was a fantastic match. And we have another one coming our way as well, which I'm super excited
This was exciting.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack. I still feel like we can take a quick look at some highlights from the Toronto and Washington game, just to, relive all the action that led us to the victory of the Toronto Defiant.
So what's so amazing, just reflecting on the entire middle of the pack right now, is just like where we're at in the league here. We have established our top teams in the league: Atlanta, Florida, Houston, Boston. But then we have these really good middle of the pack teams. This is that's a fantastic play, by the way. But we have Vancouver Titans, Toronto Defiant, Washington Justice going to map 5 with Toronto. It's so amazing that we have so many great middle of the pack teams now. And as we draw closer to the play-ins and the knockouts, this is going to be such a tight race. So I'm just thrilled we got to see map 5 today, because it just goes to show how closely matched these teams are.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it was really back and forth. For me, I think opener was that he referenced Toronto's strategy to keep this game in the world of Echo, right? Like, they have a lot of confidence in Spectra. And although Alpha U is fighting back very well, I feel that in these Echo comps, that was where I saw Kaluge shining a little bit brighter, making a bigger difference for his team, because he just deals really well with that heavy pressure coming in from Echo. He managed to slip away a lot of times. That mirror did get caught out. As well, though, I think when the Summer Tracer was out, though, it felt like maybe things tipped back in the other direction. It felt like maybe it was Justice feeling more confident, more comfortable with those two heroes together. The dives a little bit more in sync. So I think both teams have strengths that they were able to leverage, and then ultimately it was comps and maps that kind of decide this very, very close Game 5 series.
I have to feel a little bit as well that if Washington Justice are, this good at dive now when it comes to Winston, Sombra, Tracer, in my eyes, they actually could flex over to a lot of different compositions depending on what we see after the patch, right? Now, the Widowmaker, as Matt was very much told us all the time, didn't really work out here for the Washington Justice and Sombra, or Jay questioned the Sombra Tracer. But like the Washington Justice, I don't think they want Mirror to play Winston full time. That's not where they're best. They maybe want to see some Junker Queen composition or something like that, right? So the Washington Justice, I feel like they're in a really good position right now where if they see a meta shift here, this is arguably the low point of their strength, in my opinion. And then you can have Flora play long range hit scan and Alpha you play the Tracer, for example. So I'm pretty excited about the Washington Justice as we draw closer to knockouts, even though they lost this one.
I have to agree with the statement he made very early on in those highlight clips. So it is so cool to see them all so closely matched. And maybe correct me if I'm wrong, maybe this is recency bias, but I feel like we've never had a season where it was actually so close in the middle and even the lower middle of the pack, where literally any team can take a game off of any other team any given day. Maybe that's just the vibe right now. Maybe it was like that in the past, and I just can't recall it. But for the sake of the argument, it wasn't, and this is very special, and I love to see it. For now, however, we're heading into a very quick break. Afterwards, we're going to get you ready for our last match of the day, which will be duked out between the San Francisco Shock and the Vegas Eternals. Stick around.